Here we go again, man. You already know what it is. Jay Williams, let's live life, and we're back. Let y'all pile in for a second and let me look up topics at tonight's hands. Jump over to YouTube via the phone. There we go. How's the sound quality, everybody? You hear me all right? Make sure y'all can hear me out there. So I wanted to get into a little more stuff, man. Stuff that's in the media. This is what I want to do, what I want to pursue. Like I said in the very beginning, even though we're almost 400 videos in now, I said I'm not a prison YouTuber. Damn, that didn't turn out as planned, huh? But we don't have to be anything, man. We can always change the narrative, and that's what I'm working towards doing. I want to get more into the true crime, the things that are going on in the world, the topics at hand, the things people don't want to discuss. First up to bat tonight, we have Virginia mother charged with murder after 4-year-old son dies from eating THC gummies. Damn, where they get them gummies at? First and foremost, my heart goes out to the family. I don't think anybody would ever buy any gummies with the intent of them falling into their children's hands or thinking that they would be potent enough to kill anybody. Authorities say Dorothy Annette Clements, 30, failed to get her son help quickly enough after he consumed a large amount of THC gummies. He died 2 days later. Out of respect, it is a pending case. I'm not going to put this lady's face on screen. Did say her name. Too late to not do that. Was arrested Wednesday, 2 days after a grand jury indicted her on the charges related to the May death of her son. Authorities say she failed to give her son help quickly enough after he was found unresponsive on May 6th at a Fredericksburg home they were visiting. The boy died 2 days later, according to police, who said detectives believe the boy ingested a large amount of gummies. What are your thoughts? If your kid gets a hold of something as simple as gummies, and something happens to them, should the parent be charged with murder? Slinky says, damn, fast as that chat was up, it just disappeared into the matrix. Slinky says that was a 4-year-old that obviously thought it was candy, so could have eaten lots of it. True indeed. I've eaten gummies that you second guess. You're like, are you sure there's THC in these? And you eat them and forget you even ate them because they're that whack. But if your kid was to get into your gummies and eat them and die, do you think the parent should be charged? In my opinion, you've lost your kid. That's traumatizing. That's something you can never get back. You've lost something so precious, someone so close and dear, so small, and then to be arrested for it. I get it. There is no excuse for breaking the law, negligence, not knowing the law, or leaving things out. So I'm a little on the fence with this subject. I'm gonna see what y'all have to say. Purple Pacer said, we might not kill, but if he takes that many edibles, it can put a grown man on his ass. He might have had a respiration problem from puking it up, or maybe increased heart rate. CB420 said, THC doesn't kill. Jamie Chisholm, lock her ass up. It's not good to have anything around them that you're doing. I met a dude, man. And if y'all watching my channel, y'all know I had a homeboy named Red. Red's daughter got a hold of his gun and shot herself in the face. Like, It's a little girl. I seen pictures of her. She shot herself in the face. Ended her life right then and there. And Red was sentenced with that and a whole bunch of other stuff to a lot of time. He told me he was very close to his daughter. He didn't realize she had access to the gun, but he was charged in the murder of his daughter. This is completely different, but of the same caliber due to the fact that once again, something was left out that took the life of a child. Here's my response to all that. If you're going to have something that you know is dangerous, could potentially harm someone else, it is your responsibility at the moment that it comes into your hands to make sure that it keeps from falling into the wrong hands. You take on that responsibility the moment you take on whatever it is that you have in your hands. And if somebody else gets hurt with it, that is your fault. With Red's situation, he didn't buy that gun knowing that it would kill his daughter. He didn't have that gun where it was at thinking that she would find it and that she would die, but she did. Her life is cut short. So there has to be accountability in these type of situations. But this woman, let's read on. I'll get better at the StreamYard. I don't know how to yet pull this stuff onto the screen, so I have to figure it out. She told police and poison control that after the boy ate the CBD gummies, that she thought he would have been fine. They claim that did not match the police say Clement's claims did not match evidence found at the home where a detective reported finding an empty THC gummy jar in the house where he was found. She faces up to 40 years in prison for the murder charge. Poison control says that serious and sometimes life-threatening side effects can occur in children who consume edibles and recommends parents keeping cannabis products away from children. This is my stand when it comes to my kids. My kids are my everything. They are my life. I've had people reach out to me that I've given advice to that have lost children. And it's hard to give advice on something that you've never been through. I can't say that I know what you're going through or I feel you because I've never lost a child. In my honest opinion, and this is just Jay, if I did something that caused the life of one of my kids to be taken away, you wouldn't have to charge me because chances are around the same time that happened, and y'all can feel how y'all want, I would have probably taken my own life. I don't know that I can go through life living with the burden of knowing that something I did caused one of my kids to no longer be here. That's just where I sit with it. We had a friend not long ago. Her son was 17 and he was with another kid that was 18. They were in a car. The kid was going too fast. He wrecked the car, killing himself and his best friend. The mother is very mad at the other boy's family, and she's broken. She is broken. She in no way, shape, or form resembles the person that she once was. Not mentally, not physically, not in the way she reacts to others. It's like it damn near destroyed her. And she's angry and she wants somebody to blame. When you're responsible, who do you blame? I think a part of me would want for me to suffer in any way, shape, or form, because maybe that's the only thing that could give you any type of peace, if there is peace after something like that, is knowing that you have paid. Can you pay? That you've suffered? I don't know. It's a hard one. But in reading that tonight, I just kind of sat and I just kind of held my face for a minute, just looking at it like, wow. Who hasn't had gummies? Who hasn't had weed? Who hasn't brought it home? Who would ever imagine that your kids would eat it and that would be the end of one of your kids, man? And then the cops come, they arrest you, haul you off, and you're facing up to 40 years. We're all smart enough to know she will not do 40 years in prison behind this kid eating gummies. She's definitely going to get a manslaughter charge and will definitely do some time. Malik Gardner said, not a rich guy, my brother, but you are my inspiration. I'm a Jamaican now, living in the U.S. And back home, I was like you, a menace to society. Thanks a lot, my brother. Keep helping us. A big salute, Malik Gardner. Remember, it's not the past that defines your future, man. You make the future. We can't stop or control what we've done, but we can definitely do better. Sea Dog and Cooper Show podcast. Lou for being on earlier said that's a sad story. It is. Red's story was very crazy. When I met Red, I did all these different tattoos on Red, and I remember seeing the picture of his daughter on the wall, and he had a whole bunch of pictures of his little girl with these long braids, like these pigtails. And we got into the story of the day that she shot herself in the face. And he knew that he was a convicted felon in possession of a firearm. He had all these drugs in the house. He said that she was dead. He's like, there's no denying, when somebody's dead. He's like, my little girl was dead. He was like waiting around for an ambulance, wouldn't have done anything. There's nothing they could do to break her back. So he took off. He ran. He said, I was scared. I didn't know what else to do. He was ultimately caught and given so much time that he'll probably never come home. But in talking to him, the pain that he was dealing with internally from his, I don't know if you want to call it actions, his neglect, and what it ultimately caused, I think the heartache that he carries inside is much worse than the prison sentence, much worse. And then with the prison sentence, you're locked in a cell all day with nothing but time to think and reflect. And I know personally, you close your eyes and you see the faces of your loved ones. You close your eyes and you see the faces of the people you've hurt in life. You come to terms with your madness, the chaos, the storm that you brought the world, and you have to come face to face with it. And it's not easy to do. It's not always easy to admit to who we were or who we are. And he had to do that. He has to live every day inside that cell, wake up, look at them pictures, and know that his daughter is more or less just now bones in a coffin. And then because of his choice, she's no longer with us. Henry Stitcher said, we can kill a child or compromised adult. I watched a young man die in RVA after eating her stash in the early 90s when she got spooked and thought 5 was coming in. I swallowed some crack one time. We were out there hustling, and this van came by, and I just served the van, right? And there was these couple dudes in the van. And I'm not promoting selling drugs. I'm just telling you part of my history. One of the things with me used to be like, if you pulled up and I was iffy about you, I'd be like, let me see your shooter. Let me see your stem. I wanted to see your pipe. If you ain't have a pipe on you, I'm not believing you're a smoker. Ain't no smoker coming to cop without a pipe, right? So this van pulls up this one night. There's a dude in the back and there's 2 dudes sitting in the front. It's like an older gray van, like a little minivan. And where we hustled at this block, if you came through, we served you. Just straight like that. So I'm feeling iffy. The one dude in the back, I can't really see him. I'm kind of, my mind is, are they the police? Are these jack boys? Are they about to try to stick me up? It's late night. I was out there with another friend of mine, Uno. He's now dead. Rest in peace, Uno. And I served the van. But before I served him, I was like, let me see your pipe. And the dude, the passenger seat, opens the glove compartment. I guess they were hip to the game. Pulls out the pipe and shows me the stem. And I was like, go ahead and hit it. And the driver was like, man, it's hot out this bitch. We ain't got time for this. Nobody trying to go to jail, sitting there smoke crack. We'll smoke when we get back to where we're going. I said, all right, man, y'all go. They circled the block, and no sooner than they circled the block, cop car swooped in. Uno, take off. We run. Hit a bunch of fences, throw some things we got on us. Well, I ended up crawling up underneath this house, and I thought I had thrown everything, and I reached down in my hoodie pocket, and I've still got a couple of sacks of crack. I know if they find me under this house, they're going to search underneath the house. So I'm like, fuck it. Boom, I threw them in my mouth, swallowed them. I stayed on this house for a couple hours. I'm looking out the vents, and I'm watching the cops run by. They're running through yard, just raining outside. They got the dog. Dog don't know where to look. And eventually, I come out from underneath the house. I make it back to my house. I come in the back door, boom, turn off the lights real quick. My homeboy says, no, what's going on? What's going on? My other homeboy been there. I go in the kitchen. I make myself throw up. I want to get this out of my system. And I'm puking up, and I'm counting the rocks that are falling out. And I puke again, and one baggie falls out. And this baggie's empty. And I'd heard stories in the past of people consuming drugs and dying. So I'm looking, I'm like, that's a 20, that's a 20, that's a 20, that's a 50. Shit, I'm missing a 50. I knew I had a big sack that I hadn't busted open yet. And after I saw what was in my hoodie pocket, I go into that sack. So I consumed the 50. I started making myself try to throw up, started foaming, all this weird shit. And I know firsthand swallowing something like that will mess you up. It messed my stomach up. Made me actually feel high. I felt like I had done the stuff. Like I was like, everybody's looking at me like, bitch, you was underneath that house smoking. Like, nah, I wasn't smoking. So I know the effects it can have on consuming it, but I never thought that eating gummies would do something like that. But then again, you have to think a child's immune system and the child themselves is so much smaller than an adult, and you don't know the kid's status of health. At the end of the day, keep your shit put up. You got a gun, keep it locked. If you've got any type of anything, weed, prescription medication, drugs, keep it put away. You're going to be the one that has to live with it the rest of your life if something goes wrong. My planet is Pluto said, what up, though, Jay? Just got here. Hope you getting good. Yeah, we're good. We took the kids earlier. We were going to go through this. It's like a car wash, a haunted car wash. You know, you drive your car through. Well, they have actors in there to run up and scare you. They let a little bit of rain shut them down at night. So we got there, wasn't jumping. Got the kids something to eat, grabbed us a pizza, came home. I studied with my 5-year-old on his short vowel sounds. He's got a big test coming up tomorrow. So we worked on that some more. Got him a little Bella into bed and asleep. And I said, I'm going to go back out here and jump back on with my people. Tim Neal, you're awesome. Thoughts on Sam Campbell? I find him ridiculous but entertaining, reckless mouth. I don't have much thoughts on Hassan Campbell. I've seen him go back and forth with other people. Uh, like a lot of dudes, man. He says what's on his mind, and people hate that, whether it's right or wrong. In today's world, people want you to fit the agenda. They want you to agree with the masses. And if you don't agree or you say something that others don't agree with, they'll slay you behind it. Words are power. Words have a lot of meaning in today's society. And you have to look at Kanye right now. Not to say I agree or disagree with anything that Kanye says. I think Kanye's not playing with a full deck at the moment, but he speaks truth here and there. Every now and then he'll say something. If you think about it, you'd be like, damn, he's actually right. But people don't want to hear that. They want everybody to just agree. Like if you say something, if I argue with you, it'll cause people to dislike me. But if I'm just like, yeah, 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 then everybody gets along. David Storm said, quit trying to be hard, Jay. You got kids now. Oh, no, no. I'm not trying to be hard at all. Let me go ahead and pin your comment. I want no smoke. I want to live to be old. I want to be an old man that dies in my bed surrounded by my loved ones. If I never have to fight again in my life, I will die happy. I don't like getting punched. I don't like punching others. I don't like getting hurt. I don't like hurting others. And I don't want to spread a message that comes across as if I'm cocky, I'm arrogant, I love to fight. I don't. Can I fight? Yeah, I told you I can fight. Who can't fight? Anybody with, you know, a brain, two fists, and two hands can two feet can fight. But I don't want to fight. I'm 42 years old. I want to live a good life. That's why I don't go back and forth with people on the internet. I've had enough drama to last me a lifetime. I don't want to do that no more. I just want to live happy, retire, and lead by example. And you know what? If I'm one here making an ass of myself, threatening guys, entertaining beef, going back and forth, I'm not leading by example. I'm showing everybody everything not to do, but saying to do something else. No, not me. Once again, no, I'm not pretending to be tough. There was a time when I'd have snapped out behind that comment. Might have called you names. Might have said, come test me. These days, hey, you got it, bro. I don't want no problems. I'm Jay the dad, Jay the boss, Jay the husband, Jay the business owner, Jay the YouTuber. I am not Jay the tough guy. Let's get that clear. Daquan Brown, salute. I look forward to your videos, man. Every day I'm checking for them. But how do you deal with the people who ask for help but never change their ways? There comes a time when you have to stop dealing with them. You can help a person, and then there's being taken advantage of. I've given people countless dollars, lots of money, and you fast forward 30 days and they're broken in the same situation. Some people just are who they are. Some people, no matter what you give them, will not get out of their situation because money's not the problem. They are. So how do you deal with people who ask for help but never change their ways? You don't. You help the people that really need help, need help and that will take it seriously and use what you're going to give them to better their life. And to the guys that just continuously fall back into that cycle and every other week they need your help again, you're nobody's mom or daddy. You have to move forward. You have to know when to say enough is enough. I can't do it. Learn to say no. You know how many people I got that I helped that the first time I told them no, they hate me now? People only remember the last thing you did. You can help a million times. The first time you say no, they hate you. Where they do that at? Like, forget everything else I've done in the past. I told you no one time, and now everything that happened before this means nothing. That's because people become entitled to what's yours. They want yours without putting in the work that you put in. They feel like because you have it, they're supposed to have it. Well, let me get this right. I get up and go to work every day while you sleep till 2, and we're supposed to have the same things in life. You're supposed to have what I have when you don't put in the work I have. No, I don't think so, homeboy. There's a reason some people are in the position they're in. Some people have nothing to do with it. Some people are dealt a shitty hand and they do their best to deal with that hand. But I'm telling you, your hand doesn't have to stay shitty. I know people that lived in their cars, like legitly. I know a woman that lived in her car because she wanted to go to school and couldn't get these grants. She worked, put her way through school while living in her car, did this for many years and saved up and saved up. And when she was done, got her, degree and got everything she needed, she went and got her first apartment. But she lived in her car for years. That's called sacrifice. How many people are willing to sacrifice like that? Most won't. Most will just say, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. They would never take it to the extreme of living in their car for something bigger than what most people see. She deserves everything she has and then some. Dun, dun, dun. What kind of pizza? Stuffed crust pepperoni. Me, Ty Doty Walker said, wife's little brother was hit by a car when he was like 5 and she was 7. She convinced him to go out and play with moms was asleep. Car hopped the curb. She still struggles at 37. Guilt is guilt's one of those things that doesn't go away. You may not think about it as much as time passes, but it never really goes away. Guilt finds a spot in your heart and it burrows its way in and it stays there. I have things that weigh heavy on my heart, on my conscience, things that I know I'm responsible for that I'll never really stop feeling guilty about. And I can't forgive myself. There are certain things that are unforgivable and I cannot forgive myself for. And that sucks. Everybody says, oh, you have to forgive, you have to forgive. It's easier said than done. And I can understand where at 37 she still struggles with. It sucks when your action leads to the death of someone else. And I've been in situations where things happen. Things happen. And you're still here. And you have to live with it. That's all I got to say about that. Trying to catch y'all's comments, man. Jenny Bertoloso. Jay, I watch your videos all the time. I have a stepson serving a long bid, and your videos help me understand what he might be going through. That's probably because he doesn't tell you a lot of what's going on. I wouldn't tell my mom. I refuse to let my mom know what was going on with me, even on my bad days. She'd show up, pop up on a surprise visit, and there could be a full-fledged death sentence, a war brewing back in the pod, back in the building. And I get to step away for an hour and see my mom, and she could see the stress, the burden, the worry in my eyes. And I would look her right in her face and lie. I say, nah, mom, everything's all right. Knowing damn well that things are bad, knowing that I could be dead before the next visit comes around. So I'm glad that I can help you see into his life. Just remember that our lives are not two in the same. They're similar in the fact of being incarcerated, but every state varies. The emotional aspect I speak of, I think most people can relate to, but every prison is different. But I am glad to be able to help you better understand what it is that he has going on. Habashama 25 said, "You're an awesome man. I'm a truck driver. I binge listen to your stories. Yours will be one that does not end bad. God bless you and your family." Thank you. I've thought a lot about that lately. I've been thinking about death a lot. And I think it's because I've had so many deaths happen around me. I'm not going to say around me as of lately. People I know have passed away so much lately that it makes me question tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if I'll be alive tomorrow. Nobody tonight knows they're going to die tomorrow for the most part. So what I try to do is I try to make sure that I enjoy life while I'm here. I let the people in my life that I care about know how I feel about them so that there's no questions left behind if something should happen, and that I treat people the way I would want to be treated. My legacy means a lot to me. How I'm remembered means a lot to me. I tell people all the time that are dealing with addiction, I'm like, stop. Because if you overdose and die in a Burger King bathroom, no matter who you were prior to that moment, your legacy will always be attached to the overdose. You will be talked about in a light that you don't like. You're going to be remembered as the guy that overdosed and died in a Burger King bathroom. I don't want to be remembered as a guy that robbed people. I don't want to be remembered as a guy that was a womanizer, that was all these different things. I want to be remembered as a good father, as a hard worker, as a man that helped others. But just as quickly as I've built myself up to be who I am today, a couple bad choices can change all that. But I do appreciate you for watching. And I uh I truly hope that my story doesn't end bad. I'm not afraid to ride around with my name on the back of my trucks because A, I'm good with God, and B, I don't run around creating enemies. I may not always say things that people agree with, but we can agree to disagree. I'm not gonna disagree with you to the point that you want to kill me or that you want to hurt me. You know, my biggest fear isn't so much like the act of dying, it's the act of not being here anymore. The act of hurting people, leaving people behind to go on in life without me. My tribe needs me. If something was to happen to me today, they would be, I've left them in a good position, but moving forward, it would be bad. They would all have to fend for themselves when they're used to me, the man of the house, taking care of that. That is my concern. It always has been. It's for the others. Not always. As of once I became me, after I got home from prison, my concern became everyone else. And that's still what it is to this day. Getting up and going to work for the right reasons, making sure the people around you have the things they need, want, and that they don't have to worry is a good thing. I worry, but I don't let them see that. As the man, as the king of my castle, they'll never know when I'm worried. They can sense it, what's wrong, but I won't tell them because if I let them know that I'm worried, then they're really worried because they don't see me worried. So if they know I'm worried, then they, go into overdrive when it comes to worry. Jamie Chisholm said, "Keep up the good work. Salute and thank you, Jamie. I'm trying, man. All I can do is just be who I am." Britt Jacobs, thank you. Not just for that, but also having the skill set to do so. You truly are a real one. On that, do you still check your emails? I'd appreciate your opinion on something from your point of view. I was actually responding to some emails earlier. So if I haven't gotten around to it, I will do my best to here in the next few days. I'm trying to get caught up. I have some emails that date back months. Like I said, I'm one person, but I appreciate you and thank you, Britt. Also, I'd like to shout out um, this girl, Angie Gardner, hit me up yesterday. I've talked to y'all about my homeboy, Jacob Aquino, and with him doing his 36-year sentence for 3 robberies that he didn't commit. He's doing 36. He's 23 years in on that 36-year sentence. Angie told me that Chad Marks is trying he's going to get involved and start looking towards clemency and trying to get Jacob out. 23 years, been in there since the age of 19 is a lifetime. It's a lifetime. I used to get so mad when I'd be in prison, and you call it envy, call it jealousy, call it what you want. But I've actually ran across guys that had less time than me that had killed people. I mean, like, had taken another human being up off this earth, and you have less time than me? That shit used to make me sick to my stomach, especially when I would run across somebody like David Bickley, who got 2 years for his second time messing with somebody's kid. This guy is violating children and got 2 years. His crime calls for 2 years. My crime calls for 10. How does his crime not call for life? I think someone in my situation that's out there in the streets just acting crazy, doing what they do as a street guy, doing what they do to get by, can be rehabilitated. I do not think that someone that looks at a 2-year-old in an attractive manner can be rehabilitated. I think he should be walked out into the middle of a field, kneeled down in front of a hole, and left there for the animals. But he gets 2 years and I get 10. The system is broke. When I say broke, like, it's broken, shattered into a million pieces. The Constitution is no longer what it once was. It's been twisted, reworded, and twisted to fit everyone else's agenda now. It's all bullshit. How you gonna give me 10 years for a crime that, yes, and I'm not in no way, shape, or form saying robbery is cool. It is not. I deserved everything I got. But how does a man violate a child and get 2 years? How does any judge look at somebody for the second time they've done that and say, you know what, 2 years, man, in 2 years, you're set to go back out in society and most likely do it again? It's crazy, man. I'm gonna get off that subject before I get in my feelings for real. David Bickley, if you ever see this, you are human garbage. You are a piece of trash. And it's sad that the rest of the world has to share oxygen with you. It really is. If they ever say that there's an oxygen shortage, I hope that somebody runs up, finds you, and quickly stops you from sucking up any more of the air that the world needs. Daquan Brown, thank you, man, and salute. I'm trying to catch back into y'all's comments. Daquan Brown said, when are you going to do a collab with Banky? I've already done one. I'm going to reach out to Banky so we can get it jumping again. The part two to that, I had to make space. And in doing that, the part two to that somehow got deleted. But me and Banky, I can reach out to Banky right now and have him on if I wanted to. We'll sit down. Banky's got a lot of good stuff coming up. I know Banky's got DJ Flag coming up, and I know some other things that Banky's got coming up that I'm going to let him shock y'all with. But it's coming. All good things come to those that wait, man. Stacy said, Jay, how hard was it for you to reconnect with your oldest son when you got out? It was a process. I never really disconnected from my son. I actually grew closer to him, I guess, while I was incarcerated, because in all honesty, I wasn't father of the year when I was here. I wasn't really around. So I wrote him a lot. I talked to him on the phone quite a bit, unless I would take like these weird spells where I didn't talk on the phone. At first, it was very weird for him. It wasn't weird for me because everything I'd ever wanted in life, which was my son, was right there in front of me. But for him to have a dad for the first time in his entire life and to feel safe and provided for and to know that everything was going to be okay, I could see the worry. And when I say worry, he was afraid that all the stories he heard, that I was only going to be around for a short time and that I would be gone. He was very withdrawn, very, very quiet. He didn't speak much. It was like pulling teeth trying to get my son to talk. And then over time, as he's seen that my dad's going to live up to his promise, I hugged him and looked him in his eyes with tears running down my face. And I said, I'm sorry I left you. I will never leave you again. And his 12-year-old self looked at me. He said, you promise? And I looked him in his face and I said, I promise you, I'm never going to leave you again. I'm sorry I left you behind. I'm sorry I left you to fend for yourself. And you went through a lot of things you shouldn't have had to in life. And it's my fault. And I take blame for that. But those days are over. I'm not going to leave you again. I think at that moment, right then and there, things started to ease. And that's when our connection started. And he's inside right now. It's got the second large. He's actually got the mother-in-law suite at my house. He gets up and goes to work every day. We have a great relationship. I tell him, if you need anything, I'm your father. I'm here. You come to me, you talk to me, but we are night and day. He took everything I did in and does the complete opposite. He's a good person. He's got an old man soul. Great guy. Great guy. I couldn't be prouder of him. And it took time, but we did reconnect and we're very, very close. He loves his little brother. We're a family. We don't always get the family we want growing up. We don't always feel we get what we should have. So that's why in some situations you have to create it. And that's what I did. I came home and I didn't have that family growing up. We didn't have that bond, that unity, that happiness in the household. And I wanted that. So I came home and I created that. And I gave him the life that he thought he could never have, the confidence that he thought he could never have. I remember the first time he got into it with a bully at school. He was raised by women, his grandmother, his aunts, and them. And he thought, and he had his uncle Lonnie, but on the most part, his grandmother and them raised him. And he thought that he was just going to be able to run from this bully, and I wouldn't let him run. He was like, I can't go back to school, Dad. You got to take me out of school. I said, son, I can't allow you to run. I can't go back. I can't allow you to run. Why? I said, because if I tell you today that it's okay to run, you'll run the rest of your life. And you'll think that anytime you come across something bigger than you or something that makes you feel uncomfortable, it's okay to run. And I would be dead ass wrong for teaching you to do that. And he told me, I'm not like you. I said, I'm not asking you to be like me, but you have to understand that you have to stand up to the things that you're afraid of. He went to school and he stood up to that kid. And the kid was a bitch, straight up. The kid was just running his mouth. When he dropped his backpack, squared off with him and said, what's up? Let's go. The kid didn't really want no problems. And his problems faded away. Sometimes we have to face our demons. That was one of the things I was happy to be here for when it came to my son, was to teach him that you have to stand up for yourself. You don't have to physically hurt anybody, but you have to stand your ground. Back into the comment section we go. My bad, I reacted. My girl was supposedly by a man and he ran away when confronted by me. Do I still raise the kid that resulted from the crime as my own? He in jail. Yes. Yes. To say you're not going to raise that child would put some type of blame on somebody. The kid didn't do anything. Your girl didn't do anything. All of you are victims in this matter. You're a victim. She's a victim. And the child is a victim. And you outcasting her and the child, how does that help the situation at all? First of all, this child has no father but you. Didn't ask for this. She didn't ask for this. You didn't ask for this. In these moments, you can't run away. You have to pull together. She needs you more than ever. That boy, that child needs you more than ever. I'm sorry that had to happen or that happened. Like, I can't fathom that. But I do know that you're needed. Who you are is going to show in what you do. You can't be mad at her. What did she do? You can't be mad at the child. What did he do? They're the result of someone else's sickness. You've got to be that man, that big, strong man that holds and comforts and says it's going to be okay. Damn, that was rough, man. Read. No, give me a second, man. I'm literally scrolling, trying to read as I go. Did you meet Angelo Ford? I know who Angelo Ford is. I've heard a lot of stories about Angelo Ford. And Lo Metzloff said, Jay, what about people who come at you with the rah rah rahs at work? It's different. You're not gonna like my response. Most aren't. Because you're gonna say, oh, you gotta conduct yourself. Oh, that's how a boss is supposed to be. Most of the guys that work with me know me. And they've known me for a while. They know my expectations. They know I'm very, very big on respect. I'm very respectful. So in being respectful, I expect respect in return. I've earned my respect. I don't expect you to give it to me. I've earned it. So I don't take disrespect very light. I've had guys jump up and want to fight. And for anybody in here that, if there's anybody here that works with me, and you're watching, chime in and let them know. My employees have watched me fight in the past year, not because I wanted to, but because I was challenged. And sometimes people take your kindness for a weakness. You know the phrase they said, people test you when your gun goes warm, meaning once you ain't hurting people no more, that's when people want to test you. It's a very true statement. You come home, you try to be better, you don't put your hands on people, you tell people I'm nonviolent, I don't want no problems, and they're gonna take that as a sign of weakness. Oh, I can try him now. Oh, he don't want to fight. Oh, I can push up on him, I can make him look some type of way, I can try to embarrass him in front of people. Nah, no, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy because I choose not to be that guy. But that does not mean I can't be that guy. It just means I choose not to be. I don't want to be. I just want to be a boss. I just want to work, run my company, make sure everybody's paid, make sure everybody's families, have good lives and we all go home safe and happy. I don't want to fight. But some guys sometimes just don't take no for an answer. And when they won't take no for an answer, like just like I told my son, I can't allow you to run. I won't run. I've never ran in my life and it shows. That's why most of my scars they're in the front of my face and top of my head, not in the back of my head, not in my back. No, the most of them they're straight on. That's something I need to work on. Somebody told me a long time ago, pride will get your ass. So pride ain't never do nothing but get a man's ass whooped. My homeboy RJ, shout out to Rodney Allison, man, out of Dinwiddie. I watched RJ fight all the time. RJ's a skinny white dude with an inverted chest. Anybody know what an inverted chest is? Like his chest. I used to watch him lay in his bunk and eat Cheetos out of his chest. Like his chest like swooped in the middle, right? I've seen RJ fight like 6, maybe 7 times. And he would go. But the problem is he didn't have the hands to go with the temper. So he's got the temper to win a fight, but he ain't got the hands. And RJ going in, pop, 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 pop. And man, get his ass dusted off. But I give it to him. He fought every time. And I remember I told him one day, I said, RJ, man, you can't keep just running up in there getting your ass whooped. He was like, I don't care, I don't care. He said, what do you say? I ain't gonna run. I got pride. I said, you got pride? I said, having pride without hands ain't gonna do nothing but get your ass whooped, dog. But RJ, man, shout out to you if you're watching. He always held it down. But yeah, as far as the rah-rah goes, I try to conduct myself in a manner that deters that type of stuff. And being respectful and treating people with respect, I don't face a lot of disrespect. Even on YouTube, I don't face a lot of disrespect. There's always going to be that one guy who hates himself, hates his life, hates your accomplishments, is envious, jealous, whatever. He's got the Napoleon complex. You call it what you want. There's always going to be somebody that's got something to say. But at the end of the day, who cares? Timothy Williams says, AJ, longtime fan of your videos. Love what you do. I have a question. What is your take on drill music and the effects it has on communities? Music has power. Hear me again. Music has power. There was a time when, like, the Grateful Dead and all these other bands were playing and they preached a message of love. And people were in fields eating LSD and they were running in circles, hugging and loving each other. And strangers that didn't know each other were telling each other they loved them. And then over the years, the music became more and more influential. It became more and more violent. It became more and more a reflection of what was going on in the world and in the cities. And people gravitate towards the music they can relate to. But a lot of the people that are gravitating towards this music are impressionable. Their brains aren't fully developed yet. They know right from wrong, but they don't have the impulse control that a lot of us have. So they hear this song talking about riding down on my ops or letting off shots. A lot of dudes these days, there's kids in certain part of this country that think that if you ain't got a body, you ain't cool. Not knowing that once you catch that body and you go off to prison, everybody's gonna forget about you. But what do I think the drill has drill music had any positive effect on the community? How could it? It's called drill music. It's music based around, and regardless of how you want to argue to chop it up or say, well, there's this song or that song, it's music that's pretty much based around riding down on your ops, drilling your ops, getting at others, shooting people, killing people, hurting people. If that's not the basis of drill music, then please explain to me what it is. Because as far as I've seen, and I try to stay up to date with music, that's what it is. There's nothing positive from that. But at the same time, you've got to be smart enough to know it's just music. If you watch a movie, you don't go reenact what you see on TV. But like I said, some people just can't control themselves. I was guilty of that. When I was riding around committing my crimes, I wasn't riding around bumping Sade. I wasn't riding around bumping. Well, there was a couple times. I remember I pulled up one time, and I think it was Jodeci was playing in the car. My ex-girl knew I had robbed some dudes that night. She came out, she's like, "Did you rob dudes to Jodeci last night?" And I'm like, "I did." Why? She's like, "Yeah, you're out there. Like, how could you rob somebody with Jodeci playing in the car? Like, what?" But also in my worst moments, I played the most go hard music you could think about. That's kind of like my arena music. It hypes me up, gets me in my zone. So music does have power, but you've got to be able to understand it's just music, man. Jay, you were out of control. You ain't owning that anymore. I was out of control. I'll forever own that I was out of control. I'm not out of control anymore. I'm very much in control. I'm very much in touch with reality, in touch with what's needed, in touch with who I am. I'm happy with who I am. Nobody else has to like me. I'm not going to do things to try to make others like me. I'm going to be honest in everything that I say, and you can judge me based on that. I'm not going to live my life to try to pretend to be somebody I'm not. I did that for the longest time. Growing up, I portrayed this gangster image around my homeboys and which one of us went the hardest. And at the end of the day, I went away to prison and they forgot about me. So, you know who won't forget about me? My loved ones. And you know what they don't have to worry about? Me going to prison. And you know what I don't have to worry about? Them influencing me or watching me do anything to go to prison. So am I out of control? No. Am I owning the fact that I was? Absolutely. Moving on. David Poole, Jay, how you find work? I'm struggling to be consistent. You need to find investors. You need to find guys that, depending on what you are doing, that with me, I flip houses. So let me tell you the way I do it. And I don't do it anymore. I don't need to. I'm locked in. I have the only people I need to deal with in life when it comes to money. You need to find someone that is looking for what it is you have to offer, and find someone that is constantly looking for what it is you have to offer. You build a relationship with that person, keep everything 100, never try to get over, always give them, you know, the best that you can give them and be truthful, and you won't have to worry about anything. With me, my investors know what I charge, they know what they're going to get, they know I'm honest, they know I work hard, they know the product. And over 7 years now, I've had the one of my main investors is my main investor, the same one from 7 years ago. I tell guys in getting into construction, I was never the guy that just wanted to do one trade because, say, painting slows up. If I'm a painter and painting slows up, now I'm screwed. If I'm a roofer and it's raining outside, well, now I'm screwed. But if I'm a guy that knows how to do, well, pretty much everything, and I do, not to toot my horn, we do everything. We flip houses. Nobody comes in and helps us. I am the boss. Me and my guys come in and we start from A to Z. and we flip these houses, whether it's the plumbing, electrical, the framing, the drywall, the painting, the tile, the kitchen cabinets. We do it all. And in knowing how to do it all, we'll never go hungry. Because if one trade is not needed, all the others are. But with flipping houses comes a nonstop headache. Always remember that. Hey Jay, Josh Pinder said, "Hey Jay, I remember watching that video when you were talking about dog holding that Chomo in a cell and torturing him. Most people find that gross to hear, but I find it well deserved. Stacy got what he deserved. Justice was served. Dog did what he felt he needed to do. I would have rather not seen as much of it as I had to. I said my live earlier that it's like I'm always at the wrong place at the right time. If something bad is going to happen, somehow or another, I'm there. That's been my life story from the time my earliest memories. I always to looking out my window and seeing the two twin boys next door that live next to us being brought out in sheets, charred bodies. They had caught this trailer on fire and both of them had burned to death. And at 7, I watched my two little best friends' bodies be brought out and like smoke literally rolling like off the sides of the sheets. And from there on, death was just something that I somehow managed to find myself around time and time again to where you almost become numb to it. But with the dog situation and what he did to Stacy, Stacy went on to kill himself. He didn't. He deserved that dog situation 1,000,001 times because that baby didn't deserve any of that. I'm gonna move on from that. That shit makes me uncomfortable. That was actually one of the videos I didn't never want to put out that I did. Big Ball Bass say you look like you need a pillow, bro. I'm going in here and going to sleep soon. Don't forget that last week it was 76 hours that I worked. Yesterday, I spent the day with the family at Busch Gardens. Terrible, terrible day. Do not go to Busch Gardens right now. The place was packed to capacity. The line to get food was probably an hour. We waited over an hour to get into a haunted house. The average ride, like average time for a ride, was an hour plus. We got to the front entrance. From the time we pulled into the front until we actually made it to our parking spot was over an hour. So we spent 2.5 hours just when we pulled into Busch Gardens. There was like 6 lanes wide with traffic as far as you could see. That was a long process. The haunted house process took forever, and it was like shoulder to shoulder. Had something have popped off in there, a lot of people would have lost their lives because the place was overcrowded. We didn't get to see any of the events, do any of the rides, do none of that. It was a complete waste as far as what we were expecting. But I guess to say, I'm never going to say spending time with the family was a waste, but our expectations were 100% let down yesterday. But yeah, I do need a pillow. Kachik 66. So we're gonna stay on the fetch day. I was in state. I did not catch Fed time. I've had a couple different situations where I was looking at Fed time and I slid. Robbie said King's Dominion is where it's at, was so fun. Well, that's the problem. King's Dominion and Busch Gardens are competing right now with the Halloween thing. And I know somebody that went to King's Dominion this past weekend too, and they were like, dude, it was packed. It was insane. Like, oh, it was uncomfortably packed. Now, I'm not a person that likes to be in large crowds to begin with. So, and being in a crowd with that many people, I was super uncomfortable. I'm very protective over my children. So you've got people drinking, not paying attention to what they're doing. You've got my little guy who's 4 foot tall, and then you got little Bella in her stroller. And all I could think is somebody's going to trip over one of my kids, knock one of my kids down, and I'm going to lose my temper in here. We should probably go. This is getting chaotic. And it's supposed to be somewhere for families to go and have fun. But anytime you mix alcohol into it, there's always going to be those select few, like, the guy that goes to Chuck E. Cheese and drinks beer. What do they do that at? Well, I can understand going to Busch Gardens and drinking, you're having fun, you're a grown adult, but not everybody's a grown adult and can be responsible. You got guys running around, playing, jumping over, this and that, and there's kids out there. So it was a complete waste of time. We got a season pass, so luckily we didn't waste no money. Couldn't have wasted any money if we wanted to because you couldn't get no food. The only thing I was able to get was a couple bottles of water and some Powerades. Exactly, Thomas Van Eaton. He said, I don't like large crowds because if I'm shoulder to shoulder, I get anxious. 1000%. Prison teaches you to respect people's boundaries, their space. Everything is about space. If you look down and there's like tiles on the floor, 12 by 12-inch tiles, and your foot is inside my tile, you have violated my space. It took me the longest time after I got out to realize that people in the grocery store, people in Walmart are not intentionally violating my space. I can't turn around and look at the 80-year-old woman behind me and be like, back up off me, I'm breathing on my neck. She don't know that she's in my space. Even to this day, people in the gas station will be all up on close on me, and I'll like turn and give them that look like, yo, back up off me. But you can't really say but so much because if that person reacts in a crazy manner, now I've got to react in a crazy manner, and I've put myself in a situation. So you find yourself biting your tongue a lot. Prison will teach you quick. You don't bite your tongue. You have to stand up for yourself. But in that moment, you open your mouth, be ready for what comes with it. Out here, I promised my son I wouldn't leave him again. I'm not ready for what comes with it. And that's just me being honest. Chansley McWordy said, quick question. What is your advice on helping family members transition from being locked up? How could how could I how could I be the helping hand? Understand. Don't rush things. Try to understand what you're seeing, like in the unfamiliar habits that someone that comes home may have. Talk to them, check on them. Hey, you all right? How you feeling? Tell me how you feeling. What's going through your head? You like to, reassure them that if they need somebody, you're there for them, but don't be overbearing. Don't be overcrowding. Give them their space. And in due time, most people open up. Not all people. Some people never really come back from incarceration and never really return to who they were. But you just do what you can. Don't invade their space, but let them know that you're there if you need them, that they need you. I think that was a pretty good answer. Cooley High, have you done a family history on what tribe you're from? You spoke about it briefly that your mom is Indian, and the way you vividly tell stories, it sounds like originated past native storytellers. No, no, my dad is Indian. My dad is Cherokee. And people are like, you're not this. And somebody, let me hit this real quick. Somebody told me the other day that it's incorrect to say Indian. That was a phrase that came from Christopher Columbus. They said to say indigenous. So I'm just going to say indigenous so I don't offend anybody. My father was Cherokee. And when I mean Cherokee, like raised on a reservation in Cherokee, North Carolina. Talk to any of my family, anybody that knows me, it's a fact. He wasn't part Cherokee. He wasn't a little bit Cherokee. His mother and father were both Cherokee. His family members were all Cherokee. They grew up on a reservation. Have I done a family history? Just in speaking to relatives, But to be honest, I'm not real close with my father's side of the family. So, nah, I haven't. And really don't. I think I would like to know more about like the origins of who my people were, or who we were, or who I may be related to. But as far as like, I'd have to find that out some other way. I'm not looking to reach out and start linking up and conversating with people I don't like for the sake of finding out where I come from or who is who. I'm not fake. If I don't like you, I don't like you. The information you have can go to the grave with you. I'd rather it be that way than be fake for 5 minutes and pretend that we're going to get along just to try to find something out. I can't bring myself to do it. We had a Kookie monster. Kookie. Hey, salute, man. Car Chick 66. How's Lance? He's been quiet. That's usually not a good sign. You heard from him. Yeah, I continue to talk to him. But I think he was really disappointed in how quickly he got turned on. How people, the same people that are rooting for him one day are talking shit about him the next, and you don't know what's going on. You can speculate. You may see something that seems out of character and speculate, and you can completely shit on that man's day, shut him down. I know he's all over the place as far as his brain trying to come back to normal. The man was doing a lot of meth, like a lot. And it might take him a while to bounce back to being normal. But I think he needs support. And even if he falls, even if he was to fail and fall, I don't think he needs to be kicked. I think he still needs to be supported. I think that's what's wrong when it comes to the whole the addicts in America is, and I get after so many times you have to wash your hands and back away. I've done it. I've got family members I don't deal with. I've washed my hands and I've backed away. But when it comes to people like that are genuine and they're asking for help and they're giving it their hardest, if they fall, you help them get back up. You don't kick them while they're down. But do I think that he's doing okay? I believe he's doing okay. I hope that he's doing okay. I'll find out more tomorrow. But as far as like, can I speak 100% on what he's doing? No, because I'm not there to hold his hand. I can only hope that as his friend, he would turn to me for help and wouldn't lie to me. And he hasn't turned to me for help, and I don't feel he's lied to me. So keep prayers for Lance and anybody else that might be struggling. Huh? Bob V, I don't understand convict logic because drug dealers selling to kids and pregnant women are destroying children just like the Chomos, but in a different way. Hmm. I don't even know how to answer that question. I don't think that's a convict's logic. I don't think that's a convict's logic. I think that's a one-on-one person's logic. Do I agree with anything that hurts children? No. Do I agree with anything that hurts women? No, I don't. I don't agree with it when it comes to the chomo status, when it comes to the drug dealing status, when it comes to any of it. But there are some things that are worse, like taking advantage of a child in a manner of that sort. How could you compare that to something as like drug dealing? You know what I mean? How could you? Like I know like little Bubba, for instance, was getting high at like 8, 9 years old. When I mean getting high, I'm talking about like getting high, not no weed, like really, really getting high with his mom, like smoking rocks with his mom at 8 years old. That is terrible. But I do not, and do I agree with that? Hell no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. But do I think that a drug dealer that sells someone underage or a child drugs has the same mental sickness that someone that sees a child in a sexual light does? No, not at all. I don't condone either, but I don't see it as being the same. Catching up. Thomas Van Eaton said, I forgot to ask, how is Little Bubba doing? Little Bubba is currently incarcerated. He is doing what he does. He didn't make it. A lot of guys don't. It saddens me because I present opportunities that a lot of guys coming out don't have. Would you like to come to work? Yeah, 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 yeah. And everybody's all gung ho until they get out here and they get a taste of the streets. And then working becomes the furthest thing from their mind. He was given opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and I couldn't, months have gone by now. I need to fill the slot. You're not taking it serious. So then once he got caught up in his madness, he wanted to come to work. I can't allow you to come in here fully strung out and jeopardize the guys around you. I can't. You should have never even gotten to this point. You should have came to work with me as soon as you got out, got up underneath my wing, listened to me. I would have molded you, put you in the right direction, and I could have changed your life. I could have broke the cycle when it came to bubble. But a lot of people are still convinced that what happens in the dark stays in the dark. You know what you end up doing in those moments? You ain't tricking nobody but yourself. If you think you're going to get high one time and one time only, you're lying to yourself. And he lied himself right into a jail cell. What's the outcome? I don't know. He could be going back to prison. He's got probation. He's got time over his head. The new case comes with time. So if I had to guess, and I hope not, I hope that they get him some treatment. That's the one thing he's never really been given is treatment. Because let's face it, it's about incarceration these days. It's not about rehabilitation. It's about mass incarceration. They're not looking to take all the guys in there with drug problems and solve their drug problems. They're not. They're looking to get guys, lock them up, get paid for the bed, paid for the food, get the government breaks, the tax write-offs, and all these other things that come with the penal system and the penitentiaries, and then push them back out the door. And it's a revolving door, and we'll see you next time. If they fixed all the criminals, there wouldn't be any prisons. And the prisons and the penitentiaries are some of the biggest money makers in America. They need criminals. They need crimes. They need drug addicts. You're talking a multi-billion-dollar industry that is fueled by crime. Do you think they want that money to go away? Do you think they really want people to stop committing crimes? Because if they did, they would implement programs that really work. They would make sure that these guys took these programs seriously, were tested, and actually got it in their heads before releasing guys. But they're not. They'll take you and stick you in a cage for 23 hours a day, let you out into a dog kennel 1 hour a day for 20 years, and then release you back out into society like you're supposed to be a better person after living in a dog cage. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen guys leave prison and the same month they leave, see them back on the news for killing someone else. Some people just aren't right in the head, and then some people just have a hard time being anything other than what they've ever been. Oh, Goyo Loco, love the vid. Your story reminds me of my little brother. He did a short bit and is now great raising his kids. I know people that did one night in jail, one, and that was all it took. Swear to God, I got a homeboy. We were teenagers. We got pulled over. He had a pistol and a bunch of ecstasy, right? And he got popped with his pistol and his ecstasy. And all that shit wasn't his. It belonged to some of the kids that jumped out the van and ran. He got arrested, and that was enough for him. Never again. Never got in trouble again. Went on to have kids. Still sees the guys from the neighborhood and lets them know, yeah, I ain't with all that. Whatever y'all got going on, y'all can do that over there. I don't want no parts of none of that. Checking up on my comments. Damn. Crash. Hit St. Mines. Hit Marlboro. Damn, I think I missed dirt. I was got dirty weather come back on tonight. I got to figure out a way to slow these comments down. Because I know I'm missing a lot of good comments. Oh, Goyo Loco, what happens to gang members with bad charges? I can't speak on other states, and I can only speak for here. Gangs out here are more of a number thing. They're not really searching into guys' backgrounds. What they need is they need feet on the ground. They need soldiers. They need guys to put on the front line. They need the numbers. So it's crazy how one thing will be considered a bad charge, but another won't. Like a man killing his wife, people aren't going to be like, that's a bad charge. They're going to be like, oh man, she could have been cheating on him. There's so many different excuses when it comes to homicide on why it could take place. I don't know of like any gangs that ever actively had a sex offender in their gang, like knowingly had a sex offender in their gang. But at the same time, I don't think the morals that are attached to the gangs out here are the same as they are in other states. So other states are big on Xing anybody out with those type of crimes. Out here, they're not doing the proper paperwork and background checks on these guys before letting them in. So just as quickly as a guy can come in with messed up charges, he could work his way up the ranks of that gang and never get detected. By the time he does, those dudes have gotten love for him, so they just let it slide. Crazy. I'm gonna stay on a couple more minutes with y'all guys, and then I'm gonna get inside. I do have to get up. It's another day, another dollar back on the grind. Jazz S said, absolutely. It's all about business to them, not about rehabilitation. And it's tragic. It is 100% tragic. I went to jail so many times. And do you know what they gave me? Like what learning tools they gave me to leave out with, how to bob and weave, how to shoot somebody's cuffs. I go in jail and come out a better criminal. I go in as a drug dealer and come out, and now I've got a 101 in auto theft. Now, say my next cellmate is into breaking into houses. I come in on a robbery charge, and we've traded stories. And by the time I get out, now I've got a master's in breaking into houses. All jails and penitentiaries are doing is producing better criminals. They're not producing better men. They're not producing better women. They're not producing better citizens. They're not. The people that are coming out better are the ones that chose to work on themselves. But the prison's not, in some situations, they do have programs in place that you can take that are aimed at making you a better person. But they really don't care if you take the program. I was fortunate enough to have a counselor by the name of Patricia Collins spend time with me and really get to the root of my anger and my issues. And that woman will always have a place in my heart for the soft, kind moments and words she shared with me and trying to make me a better person. And I don't know how many people she may have saved other than me, but I know that in helping me get to the root of my problems and helping me to not feel so bad for things I'd done, it helped me become a better person. But yeah, it's not about rehabilitation. It's about mass incarceration. When they're putting up prisons faster than they are schools, what does that tell you? When more men are going in than men are coming out, what does that tell you? When the average age of a man has dropped significantly and homicides are just steadily on a rise, what does that tell you? Especially when a large majority of the people that are committing these crimes are not first time offenders. What does that tell you? A lot of guys go to prison, go to jail, they gang bang, they run with this one, they run with that. It's a big joke while they're in there. And then they come out and they want to live this life like it was so glamorous. Like, well, I was the man in there. How about being the man at home? How about that? There ain't no type of pride you can attach to being locked up. You lost your mind. Type of pride can you leave or even try to say you've got when you leave the people around you to fight for themselves? You got your mother digging at her rent money to send your little funky ass $75 a week, and you want to brag about prison? No, we don't do that over here. Nothing like it. Salute. So we love you, Jay. Keep up the great work. Thank you, man. How is it this many comments coming in? John Quintana, hey, thank you and salute, man. Damn. Well, 62, man. Big salute and thank you for the chat, for the donation. My great grandma was Ogala Sayu, I believe. I can't remember how to pronounce that. But like you, I have no connection to that culture. Your story of redemption and owning the business after your early life is an inspiration. True indeed. I can tell you like my heritage, what my bloodline is, and what I've been told. It's not because I'm trying to like claim or latch onto something that is popular. It's just me. If people want to know what I am, I tell them. But as far as like digging any deeper, I know who I am, and I don't really care what I am. I don't care what you are. Your skin color is not going to determine whether I like you or not. Whether you're, and what did they say, indigenous, black, white, Mexican, Chinese, Guatemalan, Korean, none of that matters to me. That does not matter to me. Who you are is what matters to me. You can be the most beautiful person in the world and still be the ugliest person in the world. People are so wrapped up in black, white, he's this, she's that, that they really stop. They've stopped looking at who people really are. When you can look at somebody's skin color and automatically categorize them, that's part of the problem right there. You've judged the person before you've even met them. So what I am doesn't matter. Who I am is what matters. Teach that to somebody. Cool said I was on Riker Islands for 2 weeks talking to a girl about never wanting to go back. While I was back getting my property, and she looked at me crazy because it was only 2 weeks. 2 weeks on a girl about never wanting to go back. While I was back getting my property, and she looked at me crazy because it's only 2 weeks. 2 weeks is all it'll take. Some people it takes 20 years and they still doesn't get it. You've all seen the news story. Man does 30 years, gets out of prison. Man does 40 years, gets out of prison. Man does 10 years, gets out of prison, and goes right back to it. For some people, there's no amount of time that can fix people. If you don't take the situation serious, there's no amount of time that's going to fix you. I'm going to read a couple more comments and then I'm going to jump up out of here. I've got to get in. I've got to get to sleep. I've got to get in the bed. I had a bunch of more different topics, man. I wanted to speak on tonight. We're gonna do this, getting into the whole. I got a whole nother screen here, a whole screen here, and a screen in front of me with a whole list of different current events and news things going on in the world that I wanted to get into. But I always end up vibing with you guys, kicking it with you guys, man. And I get off topic. As something I got to work on. I got to learn on sticking to the scripts, but in answering your questions, I'm 100% gonna always get sucked into another lane. He says, Science for nice Sui. Okay, yes. All right, there you go. Thank you for clearing that up, man. I never want to mispronounce anybody's name or anything. Sui, like I'm going to sue someone. Appreciate that. Charlie knows Jerry the realist, most genuine out here, a celebrity, public figure that is here for the right reasons and second to none. Been here since Jay had 15K subs. Dude is a legend. Absolutely go. Charlie knows. Salute, man. I salute you. That means a lot. I have stayed on my grind. I've stayed true to who I am. And I feel like as the channel grows, I grow as a better person. Am I perfect? No. Have I done things that I'm ashamed of? Yes. But I don't have to be who I used to was. I don't have to be who I used to be. I do grow into a better person each and every month. I learn how to better handle situations, how to better address situations, and more importantly, teach others to do the same. And I think that helps. And not just giving advice, but taking my own advice, it does help me make a better person. I think we all have room for growth, all have room for improvement. It's just, are you willing to really live up to that standard and willing to really to change? Everybody says they are, but we can all say whatever. Lavelle Powell said, between what years were you locked up in Greensville? Because I'm from Emporia, VA. For y'all don't know, Emporia, VA is also Jarrett. That's where Greensville is located. Is in Jarrett, Virginia, right in Emporia. And I just want to know if you know any of them. I'll throw some names out there if the years line up. I got there in '05 and was there until 2012. Anybody that was really up there, that was on my side of the yard, or that was really making any noise back then, I know. Just because of the people I dealt with, a large majority of the guys I dealt with were lifers, guys that had been down a long, long time. And the building I was in was also the building, like it was like the drop off. Like if you got in trouble and went to the hole for doing something violent, when you came out, they threw you in my building. Yeah, when they started trying to pack all the gang members together, they threw you in my building. And there was a time when they tried to put all the lifers in the building I lived in. So I've mixed and mingled with pretty much some of the biggest and toughest dudes that have come through there in quite a while. Like with John Wayne, Lamont Kane, um, there's just an incredible Radar, Dog. There's so many major names. Treetop. Um, the list goes on and on and on of just savage dudes that did time up there. When I say savage, I mean like savage dudes that didn't need weapons, that hurt people with their bare hands, and if they did have a weapon, somebody was going to die. You had kids and little dudes that were running around up there that were just trying to cut people, and then you had people up there that were running around trying to end people's lives. Michael G. Michael G. Somebody told me if I posted it, I get 5 million Shiba Inu and some German chocolate cake. Yeah, I don't see you getting either one of them, man. And also, for anybody, I will never jump in the comment section and try to bait y'all into doing any type of cryptocurrency or hey, I did this or that. That is a troll. I'm never gonna get in the comment section and try to get you to do anything with your money. I'm never going to say, give me your money or invest your money here. If you see that, report that person. It is not me. I hate to tell you, you're not getting any Shiba, and you're definitely not going to be getting any cake. I like cake though. Well, I think this is when I'm gonna jump out. I'm gonna get inside to the family, go in, lay down with them, maybe eat a piece of this pizza, and hope that it doesn't just turn into a big lump on the side of my neck. Well, let me answer this. I have to. Jim Carpenter said, was anyone respected that played Dungeons and Dragons? No, we did not call it Dungeons and Dragons. We called it Daggers and Dildos, Penis Head the Gathering. Those guys were tormented. So if you find yourself in prison, don't go sit with the guys that are playing Dungeons and Dragons. Most of those guys had weirdo charges. They were weird. And just in the uh, association of those guys, it's not going to look good for you. Chica said cake. Eric Wright, question. I'm a chef. I don't make much money and I would like to make more. But it seems I'd probably need another job. My question is, how can you hustle 18 hours a day? No drugs. I guess the drugs is in the dream. The drugs is that strength you need comes from knowing where you're headed. When I'm down and I'm out and I feel like I'm completely broken, defeated, and I can't go any further, I'll pull my phone out and I'll look at pictures of my loved ones. And that motivates me. And with your job, if you're not making, no, first of all, know your worth. If you're a chef and you're not making the money you would like to make, talk to them, go to them, give them the opportunity to correct it. And if they do not, start pursuing other companies until you find a more fitting pay. And once you find a more fitting pay, you go back to your original employer and tell them, I discussed with y'all making more money. Y'all said y'all couldn't make that happen. I understand. I respect that. Respectfully, at this point, I have found someone that's going to pay me more. I'm going to put in my 2 weeks notice. I don't like to burn bridges, but you know what? If I do burn this bridge, bitch, it's all right. I can swim. All right, guys. So I'm going to get in the house. I'm going to jump off here. I've got to go. But anyways, these jails, detention centers, these prisons, these facilities, they're all just crazy worlds inside of an already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? And like always, this is Jay Williams, Let's Live Life. And to all my real ones and the awesome real ones watching, because y'all still watching me. Y'all know how we do. Salute. Thank you for everybody that tuned in tonight. I will be trying to get these videos out to you this week, taking a day with the family, other days at work, and in between, I will squeeze out some videos. I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Be safe. Have a good night. Peace.